In this presentation, I'm going to elevate you to the digital space where we try to establish a digital ecosystem. In the physical space, you may communicate to one another through the door, through speaking, crossing the road, for example. But in the digital world, probably we need a special way, for example, like the infrastructures, communication, and at the system level, probably it could be an API level. So that is why I brought this topic, which is called an API economy model for startup development in Cambodia. And I'm going to walk you through about what is an API and why I name it as an API economy, because it is quite the new term, but at least we are in this forum because we are talking about the digital thing, right? And Cambodian government also start to draft the digital economy and society as well as the digital government. And this figure I observed from the draft policy that is the latest update, and I also draw myself this figure. And I would like to highlight that digital is the core components of the digital economy. And from that, we can have there are two main pillars, the data and the digital platform itself. And if these things are applied to, for example, to the citizen, and the citizen becomes a digital citizen. If applied to the government services, it becomes a digital government. And if applied to the traditional business, it becomes a digital business. And I mean, in order to go further during the digital age, I mean, the business needs to innovate by using technology. I mean, of course, there is experience so in the region as well as in the world. So in order to allow the business to take advantage from the data, from the digital platform, probably you can point to the term synergy and co-creation. That is why it is the main themes of the discussion. Co-creation is the things that we allow a stakeholder to participate to each other as an ecosystem so that everything can grow together while a particular company or startup can focus solely on their service. So let me walk you through a user story. For example, a gang or a ninja, for example, I mean a Cambodian ninja, of course. They try to create a startup in tourism. For example, I name it like Dabadi, which is a startup trying to offer a solution for matching a tourist and guide within a short time frame, not a long one day, but maybe narrowed down to 30 minutes or 1 hour tour session whenever they try to, or maybe get into the temple through the mobile application. From the high level of the application perspective, you can see that there is a platform in the middle, and the tourist tour guide try to interact to each other. But from the system level, although probably it's quite technical, but probably you can experience already about using the digital application and services, and you might know all these things altogether. The platform can consist of several modules, for example, like customer registrations, like mapping, notification content, ticketing, or maybe payment, so forth and so on. But all these things actually not, I mean, you shouldn't done all these things by your own. I mean, if you want to create the Dabadi startup, because all of things have been done by the other company. For example, like customer registration, it can be done by click, by Wing, and you don't need to reinvent the map because Google already provides you a map services, right? So what you want to focus, probably you can focus on the core part, which is the matching and the booking between the tour and the tour guide. And the rest, you just rely on the other. So that is the point that I would try to make. So the communication between the core system with the Google or maybe the core system with the bank in order to process the payment, it is gone through with the API. So what is API anyway? API stands for Application Programming Interface that connects multiple systems, I mean information system or ICT system together through a well-defined method. And then it allows you to access to data and features of the other system. So the API economy simply refers to the exchange, the same thing through the API, but you can convert into a value, a business value or economic value. To understand about this, you might see an example like this. For example, Ministry of Interior, probably they own our national identity data, so that if they allow third party to access to those data to verify, for example, like bank sector, like insurance sector, mobile operator, for example. You don't need an ID card anymore because the system automatically verify on that. And if you can convert this and allow the third party to use it, you can charge for the service. So that is mean it creates a value, it creates an economic value out of the out of the interaction inside the ecosystem. So here, how does it work? I mean, I try to remap once again about the platform that connects a lot of components and they can reuse with the Google, with the Firebase, with TravelNow, with Bongloi, for the payment processor, so on and so on. So whenever the tourist pay for the service, large portion will be given to the guide, of course, but some small portion will be divided based on their services to all the relevant stakeholders in the digital space. So, I mean, if you consider in total, so it will be create a lot of impact to the economic value. So, I mean, it is just an overall blueprint or maybe a map if we would like to develop a startup as from an API-driven based model. So you can see that probably there are several existing systems, and each startup just only one dot in this space that you can connect to one to another. And the circle here, I just highlight some main program that under the umbrella of the Digital Startup Center, for example, like Cambodia Data Exchange platform or called CamDH. Probably you might heard about that because it is the digital government backbone to allow information system to be shared the data securely over the internet. The other program also mentioned. So these are the things that we try to overlook about a particular thing that the startup should do. And so why startup to build API? I mean, because it is improve the customer experience. For example, if you use the mapping service from the Google, you don't need to tell the customer how to use it because they already experience it. So it is the same experience that you can embed it with your own application, so you still can maintain the level of the customer satisfaction. And it increased efficiency because everything is already developed. You just use it that service and pay for the service that you use it. That's fine. And as long as you do not develop everything from scratch, so you can be able to deliver the product or the service quite fast within the 3 months or 6 months. And of course, you still can focus on the thing and continue innovate further on your solution. So the API economy can be gone through a process I would call a value chain. For example, it starts from the bottom, that you need to have an asset as a digital asset, either the service, or the data. Then you can expose that asset not through by selling, but through an API. So if someone else consumes your API, it will create economic value. It can be an innovative app, and it can be provide a customer satisfaction later on. So there are several ways. I mean that the API can provide you a value. Either you can provide free of charge, you can charge, or maybe you can share the revenue, or maybe you can unlock a new opportunity. There are 3 main types of the API. It can be a public, it can be private, or it can be a partner. And in order to start up your API, it can normally go through 4 stages. It can be start from design to advertise, secure, and manage. Design means that you need to create your own things in order to provide the digital asset, as I mentioned before, and you can advertise to the other so that you allow someone to use your API. And in this stage, the Digital Startup Center can help you to design and advertise, because we have an expertise in order to provide you how to build a scalable API. And to secure and manage, you don't need to do by yourself, because the CamDH already provide a free tool to secure and manage your API. Within the CamDH, I would like to show you an example how CamDH can create an economic value through the API. I mean, CamDH is the government backbone for the digital data transfer. And at the moment, we run an online business registration solely on that CamDH, which 4 main ministries are involved: the Ministry of Commerce, General Department of Taxation, Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training, and of course, Ministry of Interior to provide the identity data for verification. And the total of the ecosystem, we have totally around nearly 200 API available. And so far, only from October last year till now, we processed 1.5 million transactions inside the CamDH through this online business registration. And the detail, you can see the number on the slide. So if you can convert to the economic value, for example, if we charge $1 per transaction, we can earn within around 1.5 million US$ within 4 months only. And this is only a few. And if we have several thousands of services joined together, the economic value will be huge that can, of course, leverage the national economy itself. Okay. So to conclude my presentation, I just have one key takeaway, especially to the startup. Try to think what the digital service, either the data or the service you want to offer, build it into an API and share with us, and we will share with the other to create the whole API economy together. Thanks a lot.
ដើម្បីទទួលបានព័ត៌មានថ្មីៗអំពីបច្ចេកវិទ្យានិងការអភិវឌ្ឍសេដ្ឋកិច្ច Digital នៅកម្ពុជាសូមចូលទៅ join Telegram Channel របស់មជ្ឈមណ្ឌលកម្ពុជា 4.0